Hey, being 6 o'clock, I'd like to welcome you all to our Tuesday, June 16th, Yankton County Commission meeting. I'd like to remove your lids and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I'd like to welcome you all. It says this room hasn't been this full for several months, so please fill in. And if there's no chairs left, we have any more chairs that we can set up, or we've got spaces? There's some over here yet. So, okay. I want to just make one comment before we get started. We're going to reserve comments on the data center for the allotted time. And we're going to do 15 minutes pro and 15-minute con on that discussion. So however you want to divide that up amongst yourselves, each pro and each con, that is, we'll move forward with that. So any other public comments, please register or sign in the back of the room. Patty, would you please call the roll?
Ryan,
Here.
Dan,
Here.
Don,
Here.
Wanda, here, John.
Here. I'd ask any of the commissioners if there's any financial conflict of interest.
I do not.
I do not.
I do not.
I do not. Can I get
I would,
motion to approve the agenda?
I would move to strike number 6, which is Lewis and Clark Behavioral Health Services, and move formerly number 17. I'm sorry, formerly
No, number 11.
number 11 up to put in place of number 6.
And Wanda, I'd like to also add just a quick discussion on the Drainage Commission Board somewhere, Mr. Chair, where you'd like that.
Why don't you put it in for the one we just got rid of? Number 11.
That's fine. If that works for you.
Yeah, we can put it in our discussion on
Okay, and I'd move
drainage board.
approval of the amended agenda.
Second.
Got a motion by Dan, second by Don to approve the amended agenda. Now's the time for public comment.
Don't we
Public
have to
comment.
vote?
I mean, we need a vote to approve the agenda. Yes. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now's the time for public comment. Public comment is a time for persons to address this body on any subject. No action may be taken on a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an item upon which action will be taken. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. There shall be no personal attacks against the members of this body, county staff, individual, or organizations. The chair has the authority to enforce this policy. Failure to adhere to these rules may result in forfeiture of the remaining speaking time. Do we have anyone registered, listed in the back for public comment? None? Okay.
You're up.
Do we have to
Don't forget
wait
to turn your
for?
mic on.
Lucy's here, so we can move forward with a reappointment of item number 5, reappointment of Mark Catterhagen to the MI board.
You said everything I was gonna say.
Well,
No,
you
you-
gotta turn the microphone on and introduce yourself though.
Lucy Levno, I'm the chair for the Yankton County Board of Mental Illness. And I am here asking that you approve reappointment of Mark Catterhagen to sit as a member of the board.
I would move the reappointment of Mark Catterhagen.
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by Ryan to reappoint Mark Catterhagen to the
Yankton.
Mental Illness Board. Got it. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. You're welcome. Thank
Just
you for
leave
being
it,
here.
you could leave it on.
All right, move,
Escape,
number 6, Troy, you're up.
escape.
We missed somebody in public comment that didn't know the instruction to sign the piece of paper. I think she needs to be heard when these people are done.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Just here to get approval for the wage for a part-time paramedic that was just hired. It was a paramedic that you had already approved the hiring of, but we didn't have the wage sheet here for you. So it's a new paramedic just finishing paramedic school. So we're starting him off at a step 0. Wage is $19.36 per hour.
Okay,
Move approval.
Second.
got a motion by Ryan, second by Wanda to approve the wage scale for the new paramedic, part-time paramedic.
Part-time paramedic, yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thanks, Troy. I'll reopen public comment as long as it has nothing to do with the data center at this time. For one person that didn't understand, so whoever that is, you want to come up to the microphone, and introduce yourself?
Can't hear you, man.
Come on up to the mic.
Okay, it's about the data centers, so it'll wait until then. Sorry about that.
Perfect.
Joint Powers.
Amy. This way you don't have to stand back there very long.
Good evening, Honorable Commission. I'm Amy Leone, City Manager, and I'm here today to visit with you about a amendment to our Joint Powers Agreement, the 11th Amendment, actually. As you know, the cities of Vermillion, the city of Yankton, as well as the counties of Clay and Yankton are in a Joint Powers Agreement, which began in 1994. And what the Joint Powers Agreement is the agreement which satisfies all the rules and regulations for us to collaborate on the landfill and transfer station. So this 11th Amendment allows the partial closure of landfill cells 3 through 5 in the landfill in Vermillion and the construction of landfill number 7. The city of Vermillion opened 8 bids on May 13th, and the Vermillion City Council considered and awarded the low bid from Lytle Construction of Sioux Falls. They did receive a state revolving loan fund loan and grant, and they approved that. The state approved that at their March 26th meeting. The amount of the loan is $2,132,000, and the term is 3.5% for 10 years. The grant is $568,000. But that is all contingent upon all 4 parties agreeing to the amendment. So Clay County has agreed to the amendment. The city of Vermillion has agreed to the amendment, as has the city of Yankton. So I come before you this evening asking your approval and agreement to the amendment. You've seen that amendment in your packet as well as this memorandum. If you do agree, I do have the original document here tonight. Joint Powers is enthusiastic about moving forward. So if you are voting in favor, I would ask Chairman Marquardt, you and County Auditor to sign this evening here so I can get it over to Vermillion tomorrow.
I would move approval of the 11th Amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement.
Second.
A motion by Wanda, second by Ryan to approve the 11th Amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Our next item is the adoption of our safety committee. A possible adoption of safety committee. And this basically is to start a safety committee amongst the employees of Yankton County. emergency management team to lead the committee, and the auditor will track completion of training needs of employees. The committee will consist of one employee from main multi-employee departments from highway, sheriff, EMS, auditor, treasurer, and register of deeds. These can be listed department volunteers or chosen by the department head. Committee terms will be 2 years with quarterly meetings initially established and adjusted as needed once established. Duties to include but not limited to annual training classes to be completed. And what this basically does is we would hopefully have no accidents or have our committee manage the accidents in a timely manner and put together safety programs for each department. And once completed, it will actually give us a reduction on our health insurance and physical damage and property insurance. So I think it's a good deal that we start this. It's been in, for the state, it's been in place for several years, and we'd
I
like to
don't
get
have
that
an
started.
issue. I think it's a good thing to move forward, especially if we complete the training, reducing our property liability insurance. It just makes sense to do it. So I'd move approval.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Ryan to move the approval of our safety benefit committee. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
It's at 6:30. Does it have to be at 6:30?
No, not for plats.
No.
Good
Gary.
evening. We have 4 plats tonight. First one being a plat of Tract 1, LG and F edition in the northwest quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 20, Township 95 North, Range 57 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota. This is an ag business plat, so a deed will also need to be recorded with it with a restriction prohibiting any type of residential dwelling.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Ryan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Do we know what is gonna go on this, or is it just being platted out for an agribusiness at this point?
Yeah, they're just putting product on it.
Okay.
Plat of Lot 3 of Hillis Land Tract 2 being a replat of Lot 1 of Hillis Land Tract 2 and a portion of Lot 2 of Parcel C of McVeigh Addition, all in the northwest quarter, the southwest quarter, and the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 18, Township 93 North, Range 56 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota.
Move approval.
Motion by Wanda, second by Dan to approve the Jacobson plat. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Next one's a plat of lots 1 and 2 of parcel L1 in the southwest quarter of Section 11, Township 93 North, Range 56 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Don to approve the Bob Law Incorporated plat. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And last one's a replat of lots 9 and 10, Block 1, Zedekers subdivision in the southeast quarter, the southwest quarter of Section 5, and the east half of the northwest quarter of Section 8, all in Township 93 North, Range 57 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, Yankton County, South Dakota, hereafter to be known as Lot 9A, Block 1, Zedekers subdivision in the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 5, and the east half of the northwest quarter of Section 8, all in Township 93 North, Range 57 west of the 5th Principal Meridian. They're just tying the lots together to put another building.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by Ryan to approve the Pepper plat. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
You don't have to wait for.
Looks like some,
Sign it, do we?
Gary, looks like some people are getting hot. Could we turn these fans on? You guys getting warm out there? All right.
Dan Lammers?
Dan Lammers, 1208 Green Street in Yankton. Just had a little problem down to when I registered my vehicles, I brought my card in and I pointed out the top line that I didn't own that car anymore. And the gal, I said, and then she turned around and started going on the computer and anyway, I get home. It was late in the day. The next day I go to put my stickers on. Here's the registration for that car. So I went back down there and she said, oh, we'll have to get you a check. Well, a week later, the check comes and I see it's a little short. So back down there I go again. And then I was informed that I had to forfeit $22. I said, so you made a mistake and I got to forfeit $22? And that leads me to here. It's kind of trivial. I apologize to everybody. You got bigger fish to fry here, but it just at the time, just didn't think that was right.
So that's how that works, Patty. I think this is the first one I've ever seen like this
Yeah.
before.
I've never seen it there. I know, is it a wheel tax? It's not a wheel tax that you're getting a refund from?
What's that?
A wheel tax?
I don't know, just
I think that's what it says.
A wheel fat tax plus the motor vehicle technology fee.
Yeah.
Except the motor vehicle technology fee cannot be refunded per
And the
statute.
state fee.
So-
Yeah, so we can refund the 20, I think it's 20.
I think 20.
$5 per wheel is our wheel tax.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
you can, we can refund the $20, but we can't refund the $2.
So what you're saying is we have to come put a resolution on and come back and then send him.
No, it's up to you. You guys.
We can make.
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion to refund $20. The state, $2 of the state, we can't
Yeah,
refund.
I make a motion to refund the $20 wheel tax.
Second,
Second,
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan to refund Mr. Lammers $20 of the wheel tax. And we'll get a check out.
all right. Thank you all. Sorry about the trivial.
John, man.
We need a motion. A vote, yes. Everybody in favor, say aye. Please.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Yes, it's just a $20. Okay,
drainage.
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 Discussion.
I'm the representative on the Drainage Commission. We haven't had a lot of projects over the last few years, talking with other board members, having a hard time finding people to fill that. It was their request and mine too, and speaking with the Gary Vetter is just to keep the ordinance, but move it to us as the drainage board. It's made sense 10 years ago when there were a lot of permits. They're so infrequent now that we haven't seen one in 5 years. And to try to make our government run more efficient, it'd be one less meeting. And if there was an issue, we'd still keep the ordinance and come back to us. So is there any issue with us doing that? If not, we'll put it on the next Drainage Commission meeting to discuss and try to move that forward. Any issues with it? Okay.
I have,
No.
So are you making a motion?
No, I don't want to make it wouldn't matter. I just wanted to bring this up to the board, see if anybody had any heartache, but it would be, eliminating a lot of notifications that are duplicate and cutting. Yeah, it would be, but that's why I wanted to discuss it with you guys first. So Gary, did you have anything you'd want to add on that? I don't think we've had a project for, is it 5 years? It's been a long time since we've had a project.
As you remember, we did have 5 members at one time. Now we're down to 3. And my third said he wasn't interested in going any longer. So I think it makes sense to just amend the ordinance and move it to drainage.
All we do is
Drainage
basically
board.
meet once every 6 months and approve minutes and then leave, and it's just very inefficient for everybody's time, so,
Thank you.
all right.
So all we need to do is really just have that ordinance right amendment made for
Yeah,
next meeting.
we'll probably, will we need to start it at the Drainage Commission and approve it? and
You
then-
will for this meeting and then,
Okay.
So we'll
Yeah.
do that and,
All right.
all right, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is to approve the bid for the tax deed property.
I will address that. We had 3 properties that were listed as surplus and advertised in the paper. We received no bids on the Whiting Street property. We received, I believe, 2 bids on the Walnut Street property and 2 bids on the Timberland property. And given that we have no bids on the Whiting Street property, obviously, we don't have to accept or reject. But with the Walnut Street property, we need some clarification as to the special assessments that have been put in place by the city. And so what we would recommend, or I would recommend, is that we reject the bid, clarify that with the city, and then republish it and then re-allow it to be bid.
Yep.
So that we all know what's happening with the assessments and the bid. And with regard to the Timberland property, it's out in the county, so there are no special assessments. There is a higher bid, and I would suggest that we accept the higher bid, which I believe came from a Jennifer Slate. All cash,
And
no contingencies.
I agree with Wanda's assessment. The only thing that we both agreed on too is put a contingent on the Timberland property that it needs to be redeveloped within 3 years. And we both agree on that as well. What we don't want happen is for these properties to be sold cheap and sit abandoned in an eyesore for the next 20 years. So
Wasn't that part of the advertisement?
It
Not
was-
on that one?
Timberland.
Gotcha. Okay,
Your microphone's not.
So I guess I'd make a motion. Well, Patty, you want them probably individually, right?
Yes.
I'd make motion to approve the bid for 2403 Timberland Drive on the condition that the property is redeveloped, I'd say with the residential house within 3 years.
got a motion by Dan,
Second,
second
Rob,
by,
is that it? Is that motion acceptable then? Okay.
second by Wanda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
with regard to the Whiting, 1215 Whiting Street, I'll move to republish that after we find out the city's position with regard to the special assessments.
Motion by Wanda,
Second.
second by Ryan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I need a motion now to abate the balance of those taxes on Timberland.
Motion to abate the balances of the taxes on Timberland, what was it? 2403 Timberland Drive, Yankton, South Dakota.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Ryan to abate the excess or the extra taxes on the Timberland Drive property. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And I would move to reject the bid on 708 Walnut, find out the city's position on the special assessments, and then re-advertise that for bids, again, with a recommendation or condition that something be built on it within 3 years.
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by Ryan on the 708 to reject the bid on 708 Walnut. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, I saw our VSO here. Is there a chance we want to get him out of here? Visit number 16 early, so he's not here all night. Is that okay?
I don't have a problem. Anybody else?
Rob, are you here, Stickney?
Come on up.
We'll try to get you out of here. areas. Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just got a quick report that I want to provide to you when it comes to,
Are you going to say your name?
oh, sure. Robert Stickney, Yankton County Veteran Service Officer. So I just want to provide some kind of stats and statistics and some information that is kind of from what I've gathered throughout my experience here in the current position as the County Veteran Service Officer. So the purpose of this report is to provide an overview of the increased workload within the Yankton County Veteran Service Office and to present options for maintaining a high level of service to veterans while managing future demand. Over the past several years, the office has experienced growth in both number of veterans served and the complexity of the services being provided. In addition to the claims assistance, the office manages a growing transportation program, conducts outreach activities, and assists veterans from outside Yankton County. Currently, the office operates with me as the sole County Veteran Service Officer, working a 35-hour work week. As demand continues to grow, the county should evaluate options that will ensure continued quality service to veterans while maintaining a long-term operational stability. Some of the current services provided. The responsibilities of the Yankton County Veteran Service Office extend well beyond filing disability claims. Services include VA compensation claims, pension claims, dependency and survivor benefits, appeals and supplemental claims, medical evidence development, coordination with medical providers, transportation coordination through the DAV Transportation Network, outreach events and community engagement, veteran advocacy and referrals, follow-up assistance after VA decisions. Many claims now require extensive development and evidence gathering before submission to the Department of Veterans Affairs. Based upon actual cases completed through this office, the following estimates represent the average amount of staff time invested in claim development. So for simple claims, estimated staff time is between 2 to 3 hours to process those claims. For average compensation claims, which would include multiple claimed conditions, medical evidence review, lay statements if necessary, estimated staff time is about 5 to 8 hours per claim. Complex claims, which include multiple medical conditions, private medical evidence, nexus opinions, which basically a nexus is a legal term for it connects the current condition to their military service. Significant records review. For those complex claims, it's averaging between 10 to 20 hours to complete those claims. Highly complex claims would involve extensive research, physician or specialist coordination, reviewing appeals strategies, and medical opinion development. For a highly complex claim, those are taking 25 to 50 hours to complete. The increasing complexity of claims has significantly increased the amount of time required to properly develop and submit claims on behalf of veterans. One example of a complex claim that I've been working on, as a matter of fact, one of the most complex claims I've completed through this office involved a Nebraska veteran suffering from severe respiratory conditions. The veteran had a history of smoking, but was also exposed to asbestos during military service. The claim required extensive review of medical evidence, research regarding asbestos exposure, and coordination with medical specialists. Following review of the veteran's records, the medical specialist provided a medical opinion stating the veteran's asbestos exposure aggravated his respiratory condition, beyond its natural progression. The Departments of Veterans Affairs ultimately granted service connection for this veteran. So estimated staff time invested in this claim would include my initial review, reviewing medical records, research and evidence development, coordination with medical providers and specialists, drafting and submission of evidence, follow-up meetings and communications with the veteran, and review of previous VA decisions for a claim that was appealed multiple times. Approximately, I spent 40+ hours on this one veteran alone. So this single claim required more than one full week of staff time. Veterans served outside Yankton County. While funded by Yankton County taxpayers, the office routinely assists veterans who reside outside Yankton County. My current records indicate approximately I have served 846 Yankton County veterans, 122 South Dakota veterans outside Yankton County, and 41 Nebraska veterans. This means approximately 163 veterans currently receiving assistance through this office reside outside Yankton County. While all veterans deserve quality service, assisting non-county residents requires staff time that could otherwise be directed toward Yankton County veterans. Using a conservative estimate of 6 hours per average claim, the 41 Nebraska veterans currently served represent approximately 246 staff hours. Using a mix of the average and complex claim, the actual workload likely ranges between 250 to 375 staff hours. This equates to 7 to 11 weeks of work time. Potentially referring Nebraska veterans to the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs Claims Office in Sioux Falls could significantly reduce workload while still ensuring those veterans receive adequate representation and assistance. Moving on to the Disabled American Veterans Transportation Program. The Yankton County Transportation Program has experienced substantial growth. As a matter of fact, it's grown by at least 180% since I started with this office. In 2023, I had one driver that provided 18 rides to 30 veterans. 2024, I had 3 drivers that provided 41 rides to 55 veterans. 2025, I still had 3 drivers that provided 56 rides to 81 veterans. And so far in 2026, for most of this year, I've had 4 volunteer drivers. Just last week, I got my 5th volunteer driver. But those 4 drivers provided 64 rides to 84 veterans so far this year, which has surpassed last year by far. So that being said, drivers has increased from 1 to 5. Veterans transported have increased 30 to 84, while rides provided have increased from 18 to 64. This growth requires additional staff time for driver recruitment, driver training, ride scheduling, appointment coordination, outreach and promotion, and program administration. Transportation services have become a significant operational responsibility in addition to my claims work that I do. Several factors indicate the workload demands will continue increasing. Growing transportation program, increasing claim complexity, additional outreach responsibilities, service to non-county veterans, lack of succession planning. Currently, all operations are dependent upon a single employee, me. Should the current County Veterans Service Office should I ever leave this office, the county would likely experience a lengthy transition period with a replacement until the replacement is recruited and trained. County Veteran Service Officer certification, accreditation, and practical experience require substantial time to develop. In many cases, it takes close to a year before the newly hired County Veteran Service Officer becomes fully proficient. I've got 3 options that I intend to propose for a budget, just to kind of keep them short. The first budget would maintain the status quo. A second budget would increase my hours from 30 to 40. And a third budget, which I realize is not feasible for this upcoming budget year, is to start a part-time assistant county veteran service officer. I believe the third option is the best. Especially if something were to ever happen to me, I couldn't fulfill my roles and responsibilities in this position. You would at least have somebody trained up that can do the job in a proficient manner. So my recommendation, given the current budget realities, the most practical short-term solution is increasing my position from a 35-hour work week to a 40-hour work week. In addition, consideration should be given to gradually reduce workload by referring Nebraska veterans to the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs Claims Office in Sioux Falls. Based on current estimates, this could return approximately 250 to 375 staff hours annually, while still ensuring those veterans receive accredited claims assistance and representation. Long-term, the county should consider establishing a part-time assistant county veteran service officer position. While this option may not be financially feasible in the coming budget year, it would provide continuity of operations, succession planning, and additional service capacity in the future years. The workload of the Yankton County Veteran Service Office continues to increase through both claims assistance and transportation services. Planning for future staffing needs will now help ensure Yankton County veterans continue to receive high-quality service for years to come. Pending any questions, that is the end of my report.
I have a couple of questions. Do you prioritize the Yankton County residents versus the Nebraska people, or Bonham or Turner or wherever else they come from?
So basically what I've done is anybody that lives outside Yankton County, I require them to make an appointment. If I have the time, I will assist them. So currently I do prioritize my office with the open door for Yankton County veterans.
So if you're here and nobody's in with you, somebody can come from Santee, for example, drive over here and spend your day applying for services.
Sure.
Okay.
I guess I'd just say, we've repeatedly asked our surrounding counties, if they want to get into an agreement with us, and, they've all chose not to do that. I think, Rob, you're the only VBMS certified veteran service officer for what? There's one in Mitchell, there's one in Sioux Falls. Is that, and then maybe in Nebraska, what is it, Lincoln County?
I would say more importantly, I'm probably the only full-time veteran service officer, or the closest to being full-time at 35 hours a week.
Yeah.
Within the southeast region, all the way up to Sioux Falls and Mitchell. So, yeah.
And I guess as a fellow veteran, I've heard nothing but good things about what you do for the veterans of the community, and you've done a very good job. And as a result, if you have a good person, they're going to come from everywhere. And quite frankly, when we had the conversation, he's on work overload. I did talk to Dave Denson, and he's the supervisor of
So Dave Denson is
Yeah.
the southeast region of South Dakota. He is assigned as the field service officer.
Mhm.
So basically, any new information that comes out from the BA, anything that's changed, it's his responsibility to make sure the county veteran service officers in his region are trained and informed on any changes that are going through the process.
So Dave Denson from Sioux Falls has agreed to come and set up a mobile clinic once every 3 months from Sioux Falls next door at the VFW to kind of do more of these walk-in claims. But he, we talked to him how we're getting overwhelmed in Yankton County, and quite frankly, if we don't do something, we're gonna burn him out and we're gonna lose him and we're not gonna have anybody. And we've asked all our neighboring counties and they have not wanted to work with us. So I guess what do we do? I mean, I think we got to do something or we're not going to have a BSO very much longer.
So I want to add that I haven't heard anything said that it has anything to do about working with any of us.
Yeah.
It's not that at all.
It's,
I was just going to go, guys. So you've prepared three different budget options, and have you?
I'll be giving those to
give them
Patty.
Patty. Okay, good. So then in our budget discussions, we'll have all three of those options in front of us to look
Yep.
at and consider.
So Rob, in the last 2 months, have you helped any veterans out of Bonhomme County?
Yeah, I've had.
Because I was informed that they hired their own VSO.
Yeah, they do have a VSO there. He just started, I believe, in January. Great guy. All these guys are very motivated. Unfortunately, with the smaller counties can only afford to have them on staff for maybe 2-3 days a week. And what it really comes down to, the more you do this job, the more you learn about it. And every claim is different. Every veteran's different. And it's not those guys' fault because it's not their fault that they don't have the knowledge and experience to work some of these highly complex claims. It's just their veteran population isn't as high as Yankton County.
yeah. And, it has to be said too that I'm going to say that I think there's a real failure of our state of South Dakota to properly fund our veteran service officers. The benefits that you administer are federal and state, and we spend about $65,000 to $70,000 a year. And our state of South Dakota has said, well, we're going to reimburse you at what, $4,200? And what was it last year? They said that was too much, and our state of South Dakota wanted to cut that too. And so I really think this is a failure, and I have a resolution later on of our state of South Dakota not wanting to help our veterans, and again, placing this burden onto the counties through property tax. And I don't think gets me upset that our state isn't doing more.
Well, one thing I can say is every dollar that you invest in the Yankton or any county veteran service office is gonna grow your dollar of federal money that comes into your county. I could possibly give you a close estimate of what I brought in, and you can bounce that off your budget that you've given to me, and you can figure out how many extra dollars that I've been able to bring into this county.
Yeah, it's substantial.
So
what are you asking for us tonight? Do you want us to?
I just wanted to bring an awareness. I wanted to bring awareness to the rising workload of the Yankton County Veteran Service Office. And I don't see it tapering off anytime soon. I think it's going to continue to rise as time progresses.
Yeah.
And there are some options to decrease that workload. And I just want to make sure that you're aware of all those options before any decisions are made.
Did you want us to give you guidance on, referring like the Nebraska vets to the South Dakota Department in Sioux Falls? Is that what you wanted us to do here?
So I don't like turning away any veteran. I want to serve all veterans no matter where they're from. However, I'm only one person and I only have a certain amount of time to work. So,
Have you considered making one day a week, say, for those walk-ins from other places and not the remainder of this, so they can make appointments? So it's not just
yeah,
5 veterans showing up together in a car saying, we need help?
sure. Yeah, I've considered that as well, you know, making one day a week specifically for maybe veterans that don't live inside Yankton County.
The only issue I've seen that, and I've walked up the stairs before too, is where you're servicing then people from other counties, and now we have a Yankton County vet that needs the service, and now he has to wait. And again, our neighboring counties, they could put more money to their VSOs, but it's their choice that they haven't.
They don't have to because we do.
Well, and that's what one of our neighboring counties, when I called him, he said, why would we? You're taking care of it for free now. And so, again, we're not leaving anybody in the lurch because there is a state department office and Dave Denson has agreed to come down once every 3 months. And I think that might be a better option for, you know, these other people if we sit, and that's something the state VFW is looking at, setting up a mobile claim clinic because they realize we have a high population from different areas. So I think that would be a good option, is the mobile clinic. So did you want us to then give you some guidance? I guess my guidance to you would be prioritize Yankton County residents first and refer the Nebraskan veterans to the South Dakota Department of Veterans Office for assistance. And that should reduce your workload, and the priority should be the citizens who reside within the county. And we want to take care of everybody as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that acceptable to
I think
everybody
that's
else?
pretty much it. If you're, you can only do what you can do at this point, and then you have to refer them forward to Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the easiest thing
No, it's not.
for I'll call it a customer, a vet, who has started a procedure of working on a program to better himself, to want to change. It's tough.
Yep.
And again, I'll say, I think the state needs to step up and start taking care
Sure.
of our veterans, and why they think that a couple $1,000s is enough.
Yeah, that
is a
goes
slap
back
in the
to-
face of everybody who served this.
That goes back to the more dollars you invest in the County Veteran Service Office, it's just gonna it's gonna increase that money. I can't say tenfold, but I don't know. I'm sure
Well,
certain areas it is tenfold.
And we've got our budget process coming up, and we'll certainly take a look at the options that you're going to provide to us.
Yeah,
for budget.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you for the.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for all that you do. Next item, number 13. Approve that for advertising of planning and zoning development service director. Any
Can we
discussion
just
on
make a
that?
motion?
I think we want to wait on this yet because we still have budget. We've had discussions about whether and what this role should be. I don't think we have a good idea of what this role really should be and where it should be at.
I thought we were kind of keeping it. I mean, we've had multiple, and I get what you're saying. We've had so many discussions on this. I think it's time to move forward. Gary, you're out of here in a couple months, right? I mean, how much longer are we gonna wait? I don't think we're changing. I mean, we talked about changing it, and at this point, Wanda had some good suggestions, and I think we're just gonna leave it as it is. And I say we advertise and we see who we get. Did it take a year and a half to hire you when we were hiring you? This is a hard job to fill. And I guess I'm ready to advertise for it, and we can tweak it as we go as well.
I'm not ready to advertise for it because I don't think it's the right role that we need right now. I think we need to really evaluate what this position should be.
So are you leaning towards a HR officer?
Well, that's one thing that we talk about, is that we do need more help on HR. And then the other question is how are we running our planning and zoning office right now? And is that the most efficient way that we're running this? So I think there's a lot of questions that really start to come into our budget planning here. I think we really need to make some good decisions there and look at what our budget is, rather than keeping the status quo. We know we want to make our county more efficient.
Are you
We
talking
should look
about
at
like
this, but
eliminating a
we should-
position or what?
Well, I'm thinking about, I don't know if it's eliminate, but I would say that it's not the same position. I don't think we need to fill this, but I think we need a different position, because I think a different position might be better serving our county.
I guess we started this conversation in like February, and we've asked over and over again for everybody, if you have ideas, to submit them. I haven't got any. Have you got any, Gary? So February, March, April, May, we're in June.
And I've spoken multiple
No,
times. I've spoken
I get
multiple times. We need someone
it's
who's
been-
going to be technically competent. We need to have we need to have someone that has HR skills. We have all these different holes in and around here, but we need to think, where's that best position at? And so I don't feel like we've made, I'm not comfortable advertising for this position, because I don't think.
What position would you feel comfortable with advertising for? Because we're gonna have this vacant position in September, middle of September. And whether we replace the planning and zoning person or whatever, we're gonna have to replace a body to do something. So what position would you prefer? that
I'd
we
like to,
advertise for?
I would like to see I would like to see this position figured out in our budgeting process, because I think that's where we need to look at it. Because that's so many of the questions and needs that we talk about we are also talking about in budget. And so we need to figure out where this fits in our budget,
Just
because
because,
it is a very expensive position as well. So if we're going to be spending this much money for a position, we need to make sure that we're getting our money's worth and it's doing the best service for our county.
just because we advertise doesn't necessarily mean we'll get any applicants.
Yeah.
Because that seemed to have been the problem before.
Well, look how long it took to hire an ambulance administrator.
And how much are we going to spend on advertising for a position that may not even be the one that we want to fill?
Well, we have that hire click now.
Yeah, so that we pay for that every month anyway. So I don't think that's a substantial charge. Yeah. And I understand what Commissioner Heine is saying, that he needs more information or more completeness, if you will, in what the position may hold, but we could advertise, and if we don't get anybody, then we can
Exactly.
certainly modify it again. Because I've had some communications with folks relative to fixing the HR concern that you have.
Yep.
That I think will work. So I would make a motion to approve advertising for the Planning and Zoning Development Services Director.
A motion by Wanda, second by
Second.
Dan. Any further discussion?
I kind of support Ryan's position on making sure we have a job description that defines exactly what this person's gonna do. And
We have that, yeah.
well, I know we have.
We have an old one.
Yeah, but yeah, anyway. But I don't have a problem with advertising.
Any further discussion?
You're right. You need to have that involved.
Sorry for cutting you off. Are you done now?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor to approve the advertising for the Planning and Zoning Development Services Director? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. Discussion on SB 96 and our road and bridge levy discussion. Where do we want to start?
Start with 96. I'm glad we got a lot of people here. And this is something that I think is important that and please, if you guys have an opinion on for us, let us know. Senate Bill 96 approved by our legislature would allow up to a 0.5% sales tax levied by the county. And the tax portion that collected would go directly to owner occupied property tax reduction. So if you are an owner occupied, anybody own a house here in town? Raise your hand, right? So you could potentially receive about a 27% reduction on the county's portion of your property tax. So the numbers that I have here generated, a 1/2 cent sales tax would generate roughly $4,152,950 dollars within Yankton County, 100% offsetting the county's portion of the owner occupied property tax. So is anybody interested in property tax reduction? Anybody? Okay, so I get it. It's not a perfect situation, but it's the only tool we have. So I guess if you guys have anything to say, and then I'd say let's open it up for get some input from.
I just want everybody to understand also, how many people in here rent their dwelling? You're not gonna get 1 penny in reduction of your rent if this passes. But when you go to buy your groceries and your clothes and everything else in Yankton, you're gonna pay an extra 1/2 penny for sales tax.
And this
So-
doesn't help the county in terms of any types of revenue or budget. This is just a tax replacement plan. You're just exchanging one tax for another tax.
And it's only on owner occupied.
And it only relieves owner occupied property taxes.
I would open up the floor for 15, 20 minutes for discussion. If anyone out here wants to come up to the microphone and give us some advice, because July 15th, we have to make the decision if we're going to do the resolution to implement it.
July 1st.
Or July 1st, either implement it or not implement the 1/2% sales tax. So
Don't be shy. Come on up.
welcome any comments. I'm sure in a little bit, there's going to be plenty of you that want to speak. So let's speak about this topic first.
There we go. We got the first one's always the hardest. Welcome.
Jay Cutts, Mission Hill, South Dakota. I don't know why you would go to a sales tax to replace a property tax. You have an equity tax in your property. Somebody's owns that property, so they have money to spend. And change that around to a regressive sales tax that's hitting the people that don't have anything. They don't have any equity to have a house or anything else. So that's their lowest, denominator. And everybody's gonna pay on everything that we purchase. So to think we're gonna get a property tax reduction is pretty much, I'm guessing it's gonna be a wash. Because by the time we get done paying for everything, the 1/2 penny sales tax, it's gonna come from somewhere. Doesn't make any difference where.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Pam Berenson, 2515 Colton Avenue. When I look at my property tax statement, the majority of my property tax is to the school district. So if you're gonna reduce me by, I don't know, $15 maybe on my property tax, but I'm gonna go to the grocery store, those groceries are expensive. I think I'll probably take my chance on keeping my property tax and no on a 1/2 cent sales tax.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Come on up. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Christy Schultz. I agree with what was said before on both counts. And I'm glad that somebody mentioned the schools. Because if you cut the amount of money that we get from property taxes, you're going to have a hard time funding the public schools. And I think as a teacher for 27 years, our children deserve that money and they deserve to have a quality education. So I prefer to leave it as is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is only cover the county portion, the schools and the other assessments aren't affected, so.
Megan Boggs, I live out by Vollen. I own my own property, so I mean, it's great to think that the tax would be going down, but at the same time, I go grocery shopping. So it's not really going to benefit because what I'm gaining in the property tax, I'm going to
lose at the grocery store. So it's kind of a wash. So for the people renting that maybe want to own their own property someday and are saving up for it, they're going to have to take away from that savings to buy more groceries. So I'd say let's not lower property tax. Let's leave it the way it is.
Not lower property tax. We got that on video too. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Harrell. I do own a property in Yankton County, and by transferring the tax to a retail tax rather than a property tax, how much of that would be generated from tourists that do come in to Yankton County? I know we hold a lot that come in from the lake and
A tremendous amount.
and so how much of that would be geared towards tourists coming in, not just through the summer, but through the year?
We had numbers done, it was 2 or 3 years ago, is almost $2 million. So, I mean, right now we have, what, 1.5 million visitors that go out to the lake. They pay zero right now. When they call the ambulance, use our roads, use our bridges, use our sheriff, they don't contribute a penny.
But by also reducing property taxes, it's still gonna allow somebody that is renting a chance to own a property, because those taxes ain't gonna be as great.
Thank you. There's got to be more people than that. There we go.
Here we go.
Frank.
Frank, congratulations on your appointment.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Bonhoeffer, are they gonna implement this over there?
I don't know.
You don't know?
50-50. Yeah, Frank Klochek from Scotland. Well, I want to comment that our, oh, goodness gracious, now I got a senior moment. Jay Cutts. Jay here. Jay, I want to say the Red Sea has parted and Moses has come down from the mountain when Klochek and Cutts agree on anything. So Jay, we agree. All right, well, look at it a little different angle. You're going to pick up sales tax from outside the counties. And you guys might be a winner on this thing. There's no doubt, because you're a bigger county. You got Mitchell, you got Sioux Falls, Aberdeen, Rapid City. You're going to be the winners in a way, but you're going to give biggest tax breaks to the people with more value. But where we're going to be a loser, and this happened in legislature several times, you get that sales tax too high, they go to other states to buy the food and the groceries where there's no tax. And that's just something to ponder. And I know Bonham County's not going to win this because a lot of people come to Yankton to shop, and so that's the other possibility you have. Thanks for your time. I just wanted to throw that in for
Thanks, Frank.
for the good of the order.
I'm Dan Tacky. I just can't seem to jump into everything, but yeah, I do have opinion. I don't know a lot about it. It's the first I heard about coming here, so I want you, thank you for letting me come up and talk about it. I'm for lowering taxes, so I'd like to see the property taxes lower, and I would like not to see an increase in sales tax.
How do we do that?
Just do it.
How?
And
So
tighten
tell
the
us.
budget, and tighten the budget like I have to do. I have to not buy something when I go home. That's all I got.
What should we cut?
Okay, does anyone else want to speak? Otherwise, we're going to move on to our next topic of discussion.
Road and bridge levy?
We have the option for a road and bridge levy, which is going to increase taxes.
They're all okay with that, they said.
Yeah, right. But there's a reason for that, and it's a reason that there's a reason that the state allows counties to do this, is the funding will only go to repairing roads and bridges. The levy that's the only thing it can be paid, can go for. It's not gonna assist in the safety of the sheriff's department or anything like that. So that fund will be developed in Yankton County. The levy, the special levy will feed into that fund, and it will go to improving bridges and roads. So this is another resolution that we have the option to do. And as many of you have heard, Yankton County is needing more road repair and bridge repair. We're just going to spend $1.5 million on a $7.5 million bridge that this would help pay for. So here again, we want your information because it's going to affect your taxes.
So now, just for us a little background on this, every year, how much are we transferring over to road and bridges from our general fund?
Like probably about 4 million.
About 4 million. So we have $4 million that come from our general fund that comes from the 27% of the property taxes that go to the county. And that's right now going over to the road and bridge. And in an ideal world, our road and bridge levy would cover all those road and bridge repairs.
I think only about half of it, but it'd still be a $2 million plus to our general fund.
Yeah. And so, you know, in a sense, a little bit, this is an example. It looks like it's a bigger tax increase than it is. It could actually be just a shifting of the categories within our tax statement, but at least we can get more closer to where our road and bridges are funded, and we can possibly be a little bit more clear and concise on our general budgeting.
I think that's a good opinion, Ryan, and quite frankly, you're exactly right where we transfer a lot of money from the general fund to the road and bridge, but that's drying up as our court costs increase and the rest of the county budget, ambulance included, they continue to eat away at the general fund. So this year particularly, we've had to take a lot of money out of our road and bridge fund and able to pay for the rest of the stuff, and including that new Stone Church Bridge. And you bring up a good point. And by show of hands, how many of you guys are from a rural area or kind of live in a rural area? Just so I get an idea. I mean, this is not only goes to the rural parts, but also 25% of this levy, because it's in the entire county, would go to the municipalities as well. So if you live in a small town or the bigger city or the rural area, it is helping you. And I guess the question to you guys that we need to ask is, do you want the roads and bridges maintained? Because we're at the point where I don't see more money going to the road and bridge in the next 5 years unless we do something. And now we're going to see a slow degradation of less snow removal, less bridge repair. If we wouldn't have gotten that federal grant, we could not have fixed Stone Church Bridge. It'd be abandoned right now. Okay. And unless we have another revenue source, we're not going to be able to fix Fleegs Bridge or Johnson Bridge or any of those bridges, or Jamesville. And so the time to have this talk is now, and what you guys want to see. And if you don't want to pay more taxes, that's fine. But the consequences is that our roads and bridges are gonna go into probably a pretty sharp decline in the next 10 years. And if you don't believe me, go out to Tripp County or Millette County or one of those West River counties, and you're lucky if you can find a paved road every 10 miles. And then you go down some gravel roads and there's bridge after bridge that's taken out of service. So, you know, it's not something we want to do. I think we want to fix our infrastructure, but we just have to have the ability to do it. So.
Any comments?
Is anybody super opposed to us fixing roads and bridges? Anybody think we shouldn't do that? Oh, I like this group. So what would you guys want to see? Would you want to see something like this go to a vote? I know most of the, when,
Lynette, you want to talk
County,
about this?
Come on up.
I may not have this correct. Lynette out Westerville. I believe that years ago, wasn't the wheel tax originally supposed to go for road upkeep?
What do we get out of the wheel tax? 200,000
Oh,
a year?
It's a little more than that.
200,000 to 400,000.
Yep.
At a pay.
And that goes into the highway budget.
Yep, it does
Or
already.
into the revenue.
It's just a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
And we're one of the highest
For-
counties
for
for
wheel-
that.
For wheel tax, yeah, we maxed our wheel tax out many years. We're capped at 12 wheels, $5 per wheel, maximum of $60. Yep. And by doing that, that's one of the reasons we got that federal grant
Right.
for Stone Church Bridge, where it's a $7 million bridge we got for 1.4 million. So, yeah, so we're at 6 million ahead on that, so. Who else? All right, we got one guy, good. This is great for us that you guys are willing to come give us input on this, so thank you guys for doing that.
Hi,
Hello, sir.
Dan Swihart, 296 Cabins Point
Mm.
Road. I'm not opposed to what you're trying to do.
Mm.
My question is could you talk us through how you would implement that?
Mm.
I mean,
Just be another levy on your assessment, your property tax assessment.
Yeah.
Just like the jail itself, we just paid that off. So that levy is gonna come off of your property taxes. And this would add back onto it, but it's only gonna be about half, I think about half as much as what the jail levy was.
okay, well, what I wasn't sure is it gonna come through the vehicle registration or through the
No,
property
it'll
tax?
Be an
Property
extra
tax.
levy on your
Property
property tax. Patty, we'd use SDCL 10, 12, 13, is that correct for this? And and if you guys want to read up on it, SDCL 10, 12, 13, and this is a dedicated fund, right? Then John mentioned that it can only go to roads and bridges. It can't go to anything else. You know, if there's different people here in 5 years, it can't go toward, I don't know, to commissioner salaries or anything. It has to go to dedicated only to the roads and bridges, nothing else. And it's really, like Ryan mentioned, I think it's a good long-term sustainable way to do it. Quite a few counties have done that. Hutchinson did it. Sully's counties did it. Quite a few of them have done that, so. And
You
we'll.
say we'll put this tax on and not put on the 0.5%
Yeah.
sales tax.
Yeah. Yep. And if we were gonna do this, guys, we have to have a resolution prepared. Is it before July 15th or on July 15th?
It has to be by July.
By July 15th. Okay,
Advertised. and all.
advertised and stuff. So I guess anybody against it, you guys come up and tell us.
I think, in my opinion, it would be an interesting analysis to do, is to look at what a levy would look like, have that resolution ready, have a look at,
Yeah.
see how that's going to impact our budget, and especially because we need to get started on our budget, and that's gonna happen next month, right? So that's something that we should
Well, yeah,
take a
and
serious look at, I think, because it
Yeah.
starts to
yeah,
at least get our budget
yeah,
would possibly end as much of this money transfer that we're always doing for highway.
Yeah.
I
think
and
that's
just
the point.
at least a
And
little
we
bit
can-
more transparent in exactly where our money is going.
do we know where our value is? Are we, because there's 3 levels, are we over 2 billion in valuation? Or-
Oh, no, I haven't got the new.
Okay, so under 1 billion, which I think we're over that, it'd be the max, and we could do less than this, is 1.2 per thousand, 1 billion to 2 billion, 0.9 to 1 per 1,000 of value, and over 2 billion, it would be 0.6 per thousand, yeah, so 60 cents per $1,000 in valuation.
And that would be a special fund. It wouldn't go into
Yeah.
the general fund
Yeah.
or the highway. It's a special fund.
Could we, for the next meeting, could we prepare an estimate, and maybe we'll get with Michelle, look at our valuation, times that, and just so people can understand. I like that idea of putting it with your budget.
Yes, sir.
I guess I'm getting used to come up here. The only problem I see with a levy like this, and that'd be great as long as it's dedicated to roads and bridges. The only thing I see is, okay, now we have this levy for roads and bridges. We don't have to spend the money in the general fund. That is the biggest problem, because you guys are going to run up against something where we don't have enough money in the general fund for some other project that's going on. And we're going to, instead of putting $2 million or whatever you spend out of the general fund now, it'll be cut into something else. So that's the only thing that scares me about doing something like this.
Well, I think we're at the point right now, though, Jay, that we're each year, we're robbing our highway fund because we have to pay for court services and all the unfunded mandates on the county. So what we're doing is we're not fixing the roads and bridges. And when you do delayed maintenance, like this year, really all we're doing is crack sealing. When you're not fixing the roads and bridges like you should, it's really hard to come back from that. So I guess I don't see us having an excess amount of money, especially with three James River bridges.
I don't see you having an excess of money, but what I'm talking about is, if we're taking getting $3 million out of the general fund now, or whatever we're getting, I don't care. Let's make sure we keep that up and all of a sudden not be down to $1 million out of the general fund instead, and then using the levy to patch our roads again. So it'd be kind of defeating the purpose if we don't keep that up. And I know you guys are gonna have fun. You got all kinds of money to spend.
Yeah.
Okay, one more and then as long as you're getting up, I guess we'll listen.
Welcome.
Roger Irwin, 516 Pearl Street. Just quick question. The property tax levy or property levy that you're going to put on, is that just for residential or does that include commercial?
That's the whole
All
county.
property.
Everything.
It'd be a total of your value.
Right.
It wouldn't be off ag or anything.
Right, because I didn't want to be the small guy owning a little tiny house paying for all the roads.
No.
So I just want to clarify that. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Colton Keffer. I live here in Yankton. I just had a couple of questions from what I was listening to. So you were saying right now there's the prison levy that's currently on the property taxes that are coming off?
Yes, the jail is paid.
jail,
The jail, not
The jail, sorry, the jail.
They were off this year.
They were
Oh,
off
okay.
this year, so your next property tax bill, there will not be a levy on there for the jail.
Okay, and then instead it would be adding the second one, which you were saying was about half of that. So-
I'm just guessing. I don't know the exact.
We'll get some
number.
numbers
We'll
next
we'll have
week.
numbers in 2 weeks that we can share with you.
And then, so this levy would be the fund specifically for the roads and bridges,
Yes.
which would then be reducing the spending out of the highway one. right?
Reducing the spending out of the general fund.
Okay, but it would not be reducing the collection of that general fund, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, because the general fund has to go to fund really the rest of the county, the auditor, treasurer, register, of deeds, state's attorney, sheriff, court, all of those mandated things that the state says we have to do. That's what and our ambulance as well, but it funds all of those. And the point we're getting is, how prices of everything are skyrocketing. We collect, counties, raise tax about 3% each year. We're seeing 7, 8, 10. I think insurance went up 27%. So this general fund that funded everything is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And now there's not enough dollars to fund the mandated funding and to fix roads and bridges. So we're at the point where we're not fixing the roads and bridges. We should, because we don't have the funds to do it. And this would be a dedicated fund specifically for roads and bridges. Nothing else. Can't be spent on the sheriff, can't be spent anywhere else, only roads and bridges. So thank you for the question, Jeff.
Colton, what's your last name?
Good discussion.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, moving on.
So we're gonna get a total valuation of the
Yes.
county.
Try to get an estimate of what a
Yeah.
road and bridge levy would look like and how it affect our
It's-
budgets.
I like that.
And that number is pretty simple. It's
And
our values at 60, 90, or $1.20. That's
And let's put a more public comment on the next meeting, and then when's our second meeting in July scheduled?
July
for?
7th.
July
First,
7th.
that's the first meeting.
No, the second meeting would be
July 21st.
Too late.
the 16th. So I'd say we do a special, or we do a meeting or discussion, the first meeting in July, and then maybe do you want to do a special meeting before the
How many days
15th?
does it have to be published for this?
Yeah. Would it be 10 days notice? So 10 days notice?
You can't do it. You have to, if you want to have,
No.
if you want to put this resolution in, we have to have it published. by the
You you'd almost have to approve it in,
First
have a
meeting?
special meeting.
Yeah, I think, because I'd like more public input in the first meeting in July to let the people come in and know
But
what's.
that's
going on.
still enough time.
Not too late.
Well, let's do, can we do another special meeting to get public input? And maybe we don't even have to all be here, but I think it's a good opportunity for people to come in and ask questions, because there was a lot of good questions here today, so.
I think we could, I think that's something let's revisit on the end of the agenda today as we do our items for the next meeting.
Sounds good. When would be the last day to do the notice though, Patty?
Well, if it has to be advertised for 10 days, so it's got to be almost maybe the last week in June, so we can get advertised.
So, yeah, put a pin in it and probably have to have a special meeting the week of the 29th.
Yeah, I think we might be looking at that week.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Good point, Ryan. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay. Item number 17, discussion on a moratorium on data.
So we have.
Don't we have
for the convention?
15?
Let's.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, we have 15.
Oh,
Let's run
okay,
through
I'm
those
sorry.
really quick, I think.
Okay,
So,
these should be pretty quick. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. I don't want to read them all. There's a resolution to reform road district taxation. For those of you guys who don't know, when a road district is formed, it doesn't actually take new property taxes. It takes away the county's secondary road tax, which to me doesn't make sense. Is there any issues with that one? It's again, a request for the state to redo that. Any questions on that one? All right, moving on. Legislative reform for county veteran service officers. And again, we just dealt with this tonight. The state does, in my opinion, a terrible job of funding veteran service officers. We get about $4,800 and we spend about $70,000, and the state thinks the $4,000 they give us is too much. And so this is really creating a big problem across the state with veterans who served our nation not getting the care that they deserve. And it really bothers me. When you go to Pier, they wave the flag and they say how much they support the veterans, but not when it comes to taking care of them in their county. So this is asking for reform to SDCL 33A 130, 33A 131. And for the first time, you know, I think our state needs to assist counties with veteran service office. So any issues with that one? But moving on, for Department of Corrections to provide full reimbursement for counties for parole holds. This has been a big issue, and it was a big issue in Sioux Falls as well. And so we have a jail here that you guys all paid for. And when an inmate is paroled early, the state and reoffends, the state will pay a county $95 a day, but the real costs are actually much higher than that. So we're basically, when we get a parolee who got out of prison early and goes back to jail, those costs when they go back into our jail are actually costing us. For example, we get $95 a day, but our cost is around $130. So now we lose money. The state gains because they get this guy out of prison early, right? And he's on the street and reoffends. And if he reoffends, it's not on the state's dime. They go into our jail. So we're asking for, you know, the real costs associated with that. Any issues with that? And the Sheriff's Association is going to do a resolution for this as well. Okay, transfer fee. We did this last year. Again, this is going to take legislative approval, asking to go from, what did I say, $1 to $3 per thousand for the transfer fee. Any issues with that?
We ran that up last.
Yeah, we did it last year. The next one, and I know there's probably some issue with this, requesting some legislative reform on tax increment finance districts, and particularly the $0 base TIF. As you guys all know, when a TIF is owned by a municipality or a nonprofit and that base is zero, and then a TIF is put on that, the counties do not collect any property tax, zero, for 20 years. And we still have the cost of administrating it, assessing it, and all those types of things. So we need to, I think that should be an easy one. I think we should all agree that we shouldn't be doing TIFs on property that has a base of zero. So any issues with that one? John?
I
you
need
got an
to,
issue?
I need to review more of that.
You can vote no. And then the final one, this is a little quirk in municipal law, SDCL 10-6-138. And what brought this up is our economic development study and looking at discretionary formulas. And if a county would choose to not have a discretionary formula, this law for some reason would allow municipalities to adopt a discretionary formula 3 miles outside of their border. And it just seems inconsistent with any type of tax law. Like, why would a municipality be able to have authority for taxing purposes 3 miles outside of their border? It doesn't make sense, and it's more of a cleanup. Is this the last one? Just requesting assistance for EMS ambulance and to allow counties to use the obligation recovery center to get the fees that were owed for the ambulance. So any questions on that? Okay, I guess I'd make a motion to approve the resolutions and send them to the district.
Second.
Good.
A motion to approve the resolutions as read or as presented. Motion by Dan and second by Wanda. Any further discussion?
And if you guys got changes, send them to me and we can tweak them.
I'm gonna take a look at the TIF and
Yep,
discretionary
fine.
ones, and I'll get some changes sent to you, so.
okay.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay, and I'm gonna say no to that.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your support.
Motion carries. That was for the resolutions and was presented, all of these, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, now we'll move on to, I haven't left anything off yet, right?
17.
Now, the one everybody's been waiting for.
Everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah.
As I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, for anyone that wasn't here at the beginning, we're gonna do 15 minutes pro and 15 minutes con. So I think most of you are gonna say the same thing. So you got 15 minutes to bring it up.
Maybe run through the resolution.
You
here
can run through
really
it
quick.
quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the background here, I brought this draft resolution forward. It's kind of based on some things that some other counties have done. I've kind of tightened it up a bit more. I put a lower limit of 250 kilowatts because I don't want this moratorium to affect businesses doing their normal in-house server rooms and such. But essentially, we do have a company that's looking at data centers in Yankton County. Our zoning is not set up for it. We don't have any mention of data centers in our zoning whatsoever. In theory, that should mean that data centers aren't allowed until we actually put the zoning for it. However, they're using the term service establishment, which is being really generously applied. And so because of that, I think we need to put this moratorium into place. Just so that we have the time to really effectively go through and figure out what our regulations should be for a data center. I think there's room for some types of data centers. We're probably not a good site for a 500 megawatt facility like they're pushing in Sioux Falls, but we want to make sure that we have all these things vetted. And there's a lot of complexity to what these data centers, what we should put into these data centers. And I feel it's much more complex than what we can do with just applying random conditions on a very generic term. So I guess that's kind of the background. We talked to also a little bit because we have on the
SDCL 11-2-10.
10, we won't be able to pass this tonight. So we are going to, I do want to go through this and make sure that this looks good for everyone. And, but possibly if we're going to do a special meeting, we can get this published tonight. We can also cover this on that special meeting, possibly with the road bridge tax levy. And then this way we can get this all passed in by the end of June. And I think the very follow-up of this is then I want to make a task force to actually look at our zoning for data centers. I'd like to have a nice balanced task force, get some people who are for it, some people are against it, get us all together and have some public meetings where we work through the facts and our zoning and come up with a good zoning law.
And just so everybody is clear, SDCL 11-2-10 specifically provides that before adoption of an emergency measure, the board, which would be us, shall hold at least one public hearing. Notice of the time and place of the hearing shall be given at least 10 days in advance of the publication in a legal newspaper, which means although we can talk about it tonight, we can't vote on it. So.
I'd just like to say also that there is no, at this point in time, there's no data center project that is coming to Yankton, South Dakota. Or
There's no
Yankton County.
application. There is no application.
There's no application.
Definite, but they are.
I got the floor. There's no company that is proposing to build a data center in Yankton County. There is a feasibility study for a company to see if Yankton County is up the proper site to build one. That's all it is. And this was, they weren't trying to sneak in a data center without us and you guys reviewing it or whatever. And that comment was made, and I don't think that was proper. So I just wanted all of you to understand, there is no data center that they sneaking in to get a building permit to build. Now, I agree with Ryan. We're not definitely in a place to where we want to build a huge ass data center, but how many of you know that there's already 2 data centers in Yankton County? Okay. Where are they at? Yep. Where's the other one at?
Yes. That Century Link building. Home company.
No.
Is that it?
No, it's at the credit union. So just FYI, so moving forward, like I said, we're gonna do 15 minutes pros and 15 minutes cons, and I'd like anybody that wants to speak in favor of the moratorium, you have 15 minutes.
And I think it's important to, like we noted, we are not allowed to do his decision tonight, and there will be at least one more hearing that we'll have to do. So since it wasn't published in a newspaper, like it was said, there'll have to be a notice in the newspaper, and then within 10 days of when we do it, there'll be another hearing, right? Just so you guys are aware. And that's, everybody get out their phone, SDCL 11-2-10. And we're all in agreement with that we're not able to.
I don't think
take
we have a
action.
choice.
Yeah, okay. And that's your opinion as well, Mr. State's Attorney? Yes? All right.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We got to get our legal coverage, right? So. All right. Wants to keep time.
Wanda's keeping time. Come on, step up to the mic.
Welcome.
Now, this is in favor of the moratorium.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Travis Schultz. I live on 206 West 25th Street. I would like to strongly recommend that we institute a moratorium against data centers. In the last 20 years, Yankton County has had a drought for 15 of those years, so 75%. We're already strapped for water. Data centers, large scale data centers require a large amount of water. Additionally, our electric rates right now are well below the national average, like 20%, according to the figures that I saw. Data centers, when they've entered large scale data centers, when they have entered communities, they have drastically increased the electrical rates for everyone else in the surrounding area. So we would be looking at increased water usage from large data centers. We would be looking at increased electricity usage from these data centers, which would cause a strain on our local electrical grid, requiring increased investment by the electrical companies in the electrical grid, increasing the rates for everyone else. Additionally, these data centers do not bring very many jobs. A data center is essentially a warehouse that a bunch of servers sit in. They're not being tended to by a large amount of employees. There's basically a few janitorial jobs and some security, and that's about it. So the amount of benefit to the county, to the community is negligible. The amount of potential harm is great. Additionally, these data centers have been very detrimental to the local community. Essentially, these data centers are a means of Silicon Valley to externalize the burdens of their build out onto us, onto our community, while they keep the benefit elsewhere. So I would strongly recommend that we institute a moratorium against these data centers building in our county. Thank you.
Could you explain that last comment a little more?
Sure.
Betty needs your name again. She didn't quite.
Travis Schultz. The externalizing the burden. Yeah, so essentially they want to build these data centers somewhere where they can get a cheap electrical rate and cheap land. And we have that here. So they're going to come here, they're going to put up their data center, they're going to strain our local resources, they're going to use a lot of water, they're going to use a lot of electricity, they're going to increase the rates for all of us. So those would be the burdens that they're imposing on us. While the benefit to them is that they get, you know, a few more gigaflops of computing for their AI models. And honestly, I don't see the benefit to the county. And I don't know about you, but I get about 2 to 3 AI spam calls a day of people trying to get me to buy into some scam loan. And I don't see the benefit of enabling that even further. So
Thank you.
does that answer your question? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Laura Katalik. And since the question is just on issuing a moratorium that will give the planning and zoning time to come up with some zoning and regulations and things like that, I would encourage all of you to support the moratorium. And I guess the biggest reason is because when we had wind towers coming in, and that question came before the board at that time, and the moratorium was declined, then we had some problems with trying to get the zoning that we needed in place to deal with what was coming. And so if we already know that someone is here looking, then we know that it's coming. And it's only fair to the citizens and our county that we have time to get the zoning in place that we need.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, Nancy Fisher, 300 James Place, Yankton. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk to you today. I would be in favor of a halt here for right now before anything would come in. Hardly a day goes by that we hear of other countries, other counties that are being, I guess having a data center come in maybe where people did not want that. They were ill prepared to have the infrastructure in place, to have the legal laws. As you said, data center could mean a whole lot of things. So I guess I would like to make sure that the laws are in place to define what it is that we're looking at. What impact will it have? As somebody else said, it does take a lot of resources. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of water. Well, when those things are scarce, that cost increases for the rest of us. Not only that, but what other pollution is there involved environmentally? My understanding is that some of these data centers can have 90 decibel noise pollution. So that would be like a lawnmower or a leaf blower or a hairdryer going all the time, 24 hours a day. Do you want to live next to that? I don't want to, but you know, I'm also not against businesses. I do think we need to make sure that Yankton is growing, but I think we would like to just have that time to get input. What are we looking for? What containment do we want to have? Thank you.
Nancy, question for you. You had a concern about the noise, so you'd want like some sort of setback or something from a residence. Is that kind of what you were hinting at?
Yes, I guess that would be something to look at, but yes, definitely I would, because there is also light a lot of times with
Okay,
these kind of
great.
facilities.
And you mentioned pollution, like what kind of are you light pollution or?
Light pollution, noise pollution.
Light pollution. Okay.
Some of these data centers do also need to have backup generators.
Okay,
So there may be other fuels that are used.
got it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next. Where are we at for time?
7 minutes,
7
15
minutes. If you
seconds.
guys want to get in line, so you're not wasting time.
Coming up here?
Yeah, so
You made it pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
welcome Senator Nelson.
Yeah, Lauren Nelson, live north of Yankton. First thing I was just going to say, if there needs to be a feasibility study, we're not talking about a little box, put it that way. So that's the concern there. Also too, you know, you did a perfect example how many years ago with our solar. You know, I came before you and I said, hey, we need to put a solar ordinance in. And I didn't know this, but there was company nosing around over by Vollen, and you put a moratorium in. And we had that opportunity because all the questions this lady just asked is exactly what the moratorium is about. Getting those answers and making sure that the people who live here are protected. And that's your job. That's who you elected is the people of this county. And they are the ones who need to be protected because they're the ones who live here. So I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to put this moratorium in place. Give us time to research, give us time to gain facts, and making sure that the people of this county are protected. Thanks.
Senator, question. So you realize, you know, the law, we can't do it tonight, right? Did you?
Oh, yeah, I know,
Okay,
I know,
okay.
I know, I know.
Right, I just want to make
Yeah,
sure
from-
you
from so-
didn't want
yeah,
us to
from-
vote.
No,
tonight. Okay,
From I don't want you to break the law.
thank you.
With the solar, I do realize we talked about it and then we had to have it had to be published in time. So, yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Hi, Christy Schultz. I'm going to be very brief. I would very, very much like to request that we do not give any data center a TIF. These are multi-billion-dollar corporations that are coming in here, and just like my son said, they want the cheap land, they want the cheap energy, and they are going to the bank, folks, with their pockets full. Also, I think we need to require renewable energy production on their part at their expense as a part of this plan. Because data centers keep fossil fuel plants open. Okay, certain fossil fuel plants in other states were slated to be closed. The data center came in and those plants came and stayed open because they needed the energy to generate all that electricity that they need. So we need to look to the future, please, and take care of our county and take care of our children and great-grandchildren and all the generations to come. We need to look forward, please. What else was I going to say? I'm going to try to keep it short. Oh, Virginia, Senate Law 1234 prohibits data centers costs to be passed on to customers. One way that they do that with electricity is they'll bait and switch. They'll set up with an electric company and they'll get super low cost because they're buying in bulk. And that energy company turns around and hikes their rates up to 20%, 22% in Clark County, Illinois, and 39% in Lafayette, Louisiana. So they're going to get their money. The energy companies are going to get their money. And if they don't get it out of the big, deep pockets, they're going to take it out of ours. Thank you.
So our legislature last year passed a bill, Senate Bill 135, that's called the Data Centers Bill of Rights, which basically protects the citizens from the energy companies gouging and raising energy rates just to supply data centers. And it's mandated by the Public Utilities Commission in the state of South Dakota.
Thank you.
Where are we at for time?
11 minutes, 29 seconds.
Lynette Alp, Lesterville. I just want to ditto most of what everybody else has said. We need ordinance fortification. Our existing zoning ordinances are completely outdated and do not reflect the physical reality of a modern multi-megawatt data center. If we don't enact a moratorium now, developers will continue to exploit loopholes using by right or service center classifications to completely bypass the public scrutiny, special use permitting, and conditional safeguards that our community expects and deserves. Thank you.
Next. Got what, 3 minutes left?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
60 seconds. 50 seconds, sorry.
Welcome.
Linda Schaefer, Yankton County. I've lived here for 50 years and I love where I live, but I don't want some of these large companies coming in. One of the reasons is because like I say, it's a repeat in a way. A lot of your power grids are going to be overloaded with this company if you allow something like this coming in. I live out on the farm, and when the power goes off, it's off. And how long is it going to be off? If you have a large source drawing, and who's going to get it first? The little old farmer way out in the northwest part of the county or the data center? Yeah, well, I want to see it happen. I've lived there 50 years and it's like, we're not first on the list, never been first on the, when we were milking cows, when the power went out, we were waiting in the dark. But also, I just want to point out one thing here in the city of Kearney, Nebraska. They have a population of 40,000. They had a data center put in. It's not the hyperscale one. It's only 100 megawatts. And it doubled the city's electrical use, doubled it. So Yankton, how big are we? We're not as big. But, you know, if it doubles our electrical use, somewhere along the line, now there's a whole lot of building that's going to have to go on. I would like to see you guys really think this out, really plan this out before we do anything here in Yankton County. I love Yankton County. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you. Kay Swihart, 296 Gavins Point Road. I understand the conundrum that you guys are in and trying to make a decision on this. And I think coming from a utility background, I see the negatives more than I see the positives of having the data centers. I understand the need for them, but I also understand the need for the control of them also. Pretty much any data center that was built in the 2000 is already pretty much at the end of its life. The technology changes about every 8 months. So after 8 months, that technology, those chips become smaller, but the need keeps on growing and growing. So the changes are rapid. Doing a moratorium on this gives us the chance, you as a committee, to look at this and really assess the need, because this is critical. We live in a beautiful area of this state. Data centers are not attractive. They're not what we need as far as utility lines coming in, the water usage, the temperatures, the lights, everything are impacted. We have water coming out of the Missouri River with the sturgeons. We need to be protecting those. They're very threatened species. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're out of time.
Okay, now's we're going to give 15 minutes to the folks that want to speak against the moratorium.
Or in favor of data centers. Just to be clear.
And to be honest, I don't know that anybody here is really against doing a moratorium. It's basically kind of the size of where we're going with. So
Perfect. How we doing?
Good.
My name is Drew O'Brien. I'm with A1 Development Solutions. Sounds like my inquiry might have been the ember that lit the fire here tonight. So I apologize for pulling everyone away from the World Cup tonight. But I'm not here to speak for or against, I guess, necessarily the moratorium. I just more wanted to come and kind of explain how this came about, explain a little bit about why I initially inquired into the county, and kind of the client that I'm currently representing and what they're looking to do. Hopefully just provide some education to help you guys, make a good decision. So first off, kind of to Commissioner Mark Ort's point, there is no project at this point for me to speak specifically about. What I was tasked to do was to look over the entire state of South Dakota, specifically on the east side of the state, for opportunities where this client could potentially come and place their data center. To everyone's point in this room, and everyone's talked about, there's a lot of information swirling about different types of data centers, different sizes of data centers. So I want to speak specifically about the client that I'm representing and we're looking for, and what they are looking to do. Their setup is a little bit different than I think what a lot of people are expecting. They're not looking to build 1,500, 100 megawatt data centers. What they're looking is to build small 10 to 20 megawatt AI data centers. So I hear a lot, just to kind of touch on some of the points that I've heard so far. Utility infrastructure, I know, is a huge concern for everybody. And that's something that the client that I'm working with is very aware of, which is why they use a closed loop system. And that's one of the huge ones is water burden. So closed loop system, they're going to fill their water system up the very first time when they get their systems going, and then they don't use water at that point. After they do their initial fill of their system, they're going to use basically the equivalent of a single family home for water usage at that point, for their kitchen and their bathrooms for staff on site. As far as power grid strain, I hear that a lot. We're specifically, what I'm tasked with doing is finding locations where this power is already available. We're not looking to create power in areas where that power is not readily available. We're looking to use that power that is already in place near substations where that power is at, to avoid having to run these huge transmission lines, to your point, and spread them, across the countryside. We're going where that power already is. We're going where that transmission already is, and we're looking to plug in and use that power that's already there. As far as the costs for any infrastructure improvement to get that power to the site, that's going to be 100% on the developer and the end user to do. So that cost is not going to be pushed on to the community. There's not going to be negotiated rates that are going to have to be pushed on to consumers. It should have no impact from that standpoint. So that infrastructure cost burden at no point should come with this specific project, should not come anywhere near anyone. As far as noise and light pollution, again, being a smaller 10 to 20 megawatt data center, the noise pollution that you're looking at is the equivalent of the hum of a transformer. I think they say like 10 decibels, which is the equivalent of 3 people standing in a circle having a conversation. So again, it's being that smaller data center, it's going to have less of an impact, less of a footprint. This particular client, they are more than happy to work with communities. We talk about things like setbacks and screenings. We're not here to do anything other than do what's best for the community and provide a site that is visually appealing, and any concerns are mitigated with that site, and anything that we can do to kind of help with that. This client specifically is not looking for any kind of TIF or financial incentives from the county, from the city. They're fully capable and are perfectly fine with funding all these build outs as any other commercial business would do. And that's kind of their process. So just kind of a real quick kind of rundown of some of the specs of this data center, just so that everyone kind of understands. 10 to 25 megawatts is kind of the gap or the size that they look to build. The size or the footprint they look for is roughly less than an acre per megawatt. So you're looking at probably about 10 to 15, maybe 20 acres on the larger side, depending on the size of the land. The nice thing is, or the big part about these projects is when they come to these communities, they are going to spend money, and hopefully that money is going to benefit the community. Just to build one of these projects, you're looking at $100 to $200 million capital expenditure upfront to build these to build these facilities. That money that's spent is going to be taxable in the county, just as though as anything else would be sold in the county. Moving on, job creation, looking at anywhere from 8 to 20 full-time jobs with an average salary of $80,000 or more would come to the community to help these facilities function. We talked about water, just being that closed loop system. Wastewater, there is no wastewater, again, because it's just equivalent of the bathrooms and the kitchens in these facilities. As far as emissions, the only emission is oxygen. So you don't have to worry about smell emissions or coming off of these properties. We talked about noise being low on these. And as far as visually speaking, the data center setup is, they call it a modular data center setup. So it's a very small structure on the middle of the site that would house some of the critical components of the project. And then the pieces that are helping that data center run are, depending on the size, these modular units that are roughly the size of a shipping container. They're visually appealing, you know, they're not like just some rusty box sitting out there with graffiti on them. These are nice looking modular setups that are set up in these areas. They're not looking to build them in the middle of town. They're looking for areas, again, near substations, most likely short distances outside of town, close enough that folks who are working there are able to get to and from there fairly easily. But yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm presenting the facts of what was brought up, and kind of the process that led to this was I just reached out to the county and I said, hey, we're looking for opportunities in the state of South Dakota. I'm working with probably 7 or 8 different communities on the east side of the state. We see that there is some power available in some of the locations in your county. What would it look like if we were to come into the county? What ordinances are in place? What do we need to do to see if this is a feasible location for the project? At that point, some communication started, and we were told there might be some ordinances that were already in place, that there might be an opportunity to work within the parameters of. Great. But no matter what this commission decides or what everyone decides, the project would want to be a benefit to the community. The goal is to do something that the community sees the benefits from, the tax benefits from. You're receiving those tax benefits from the original capital expenditure of the project. These projects have to do additional CapEx every 5 to 7 years to replace equipment, which is going to be probably another $300 million, roughly $150 to $300 million. Every 5 to 7 years, that's going to be taxed. The power that they're using at that 10 to 20 megawatts, that's going to be taxed. So there isn't a situation from the construction of this type of data center for the client that I'm representing that should have a negative impact on the community. So I just wanted to present the facts of I guess, the client that I'm representing and kind of how this inquiry came about. And with that said, I'm absolutely an open book and happy to open it to questions, whether it be from the commissioners or if anyone in the community has questions for me. I'm more than happy to talk more about kind of in broad terms, kind of what we're looking at doing. But again, at this point, I can't get too far into details because we don't have a project yet. We're just purely inquiring into the county. Is this an option, and what would it look like if we were to move forward? It's so early in that process. We're not necessarily speaking specifically. We're just representing a client who would come in with this type of data center. The specific client, again, we're not talking specifically about the client's name just because we want to actually have a project. No, I understand. Yep. I just, until we have a project, we aren't speaking specifically about the client. As soon as we have something that we're presenting, then we would definitely
I think what Drew is saying, that there is confidentiality agreements between him and their client, and that information at this point is not available to be told. If there is a project, if a project does come available, I'm sure that the name of the company and the address and everything else will be made available to us before they start building.
Yep. And I mean, I think I'd let others maybe speak to that. You know, there might be others in the room who would have a little more information as to kind of the logistics of how all of that work. Me specifically, like I'm from South Dakota. I grew up West River in Custer, grew up on a small grass-fed cattle ranch out there. I have family on my wife's side that still farms around Irene and Viborg. I have family that lives in Yankton. So I'm not coming in from this big city out here trying to bring in some big city firm that's going to do it. I was hired by a client, and A1 Development Solutions would not represent a client that we felt was not a reputable client to represent. So at this point, unfortunately, kind of to some points made in the room, I can't go too far into detail other than to kind of give the broad details of the type of project that we're looking at bringing in, and hopefully mitigate some of those concerns of some of those large data centers and some of those kind of stories that we've heard that can be detrimental, and kind of hopefully explain that this data center and this type of setup is one that would bring far more pros than cons.
Question, I got a question for you
Yes.
quick. What's the lifespan on one of these buildings? Do you have an estimate on that?
So it all kind of that capital expenditure for updates every 5 to 7 years. That's the thing, is they're going to put the money back into improving the facility as time goes on. So the lifespan of it would be as long as it's useful, and it's going to continue to be useful as long as they continue to keep it up, and they're going to continue to put that capital expenditure into that project to continue updating it moving forward. That I'm aware of, and I guess I'm not going to even pretend to be any kind of professional on health risks, but there's nothing that I'm aware of to the point of earlier in this meeting. There's 2 data centers that are currently in Yankton alone. There's hundreds of data centers in South Dakota currently. Yep, no known health risks that I am aware of.
Okay, so these gentlemen and that did not interrupt anybody else. So what I think we need to do is give them their 15 minutes. And then if you want to ask them questions, they can go out in the hallway and ask questions.
Yep, and
Because I don't want to take their time away from them for their explanation. We didn't take any of your time away. So if that's okay with you.
I'm an open book, so happy to speak with anyone, whether it be tonight or reaching out to me later. I'm absolutely happy to answer questions. So.
Were you done with your discussion? You,
Yes, yep.
well,
Exactly.
then maybe somebody can step.
There you
Well,
go.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Paul Mantz. I'm the Manager of National Accounts and Economic Development for Northwestern Energy. I work in South Dakota and Nebraska for the company. Tonight, I'd like to make a statement from Northwestern Energy regarding large customers in South Dakota generally. So reliable, affordable electric service is critical to Northwestern Energy's South Dakota electric customers, and questions about future growth can raise real concerns. We plan to make investments carefully to ensure the energy system continues to perform dependably as energy needs evolve while meeting regional reliability requirements. If a new large energy user are considered in the future, they will be required to pay the costs of generation, transmission, and infrastructure needed to serve them. That approach protects existing customers and prevents those costs from being shifted onto family and businesses who rely on the system today. Economic growth can benefit our South Dakota customers while maintaining and even enhancing the reliability and affordable service they depend on every day. I'd also like to reference some of the state legislation that you brought up that has protections in place. I think that's germane here. And other than that, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Scott Sandel. I'm from Lennox, and I actually built the data center in 2008 on West City Limits Road. I was actually here giving the same kind of talk, trying to explain what they were back then. So since that time, when that data center joined the Midco fleet, I've worked with and continue to work with around 50 of the data center in 50 states, all 50 states, and 110 countries around the world. So when you start looking at data centers, what they're doing, why they're doing it, I've been in a lot of them, including the large one that's up in North Dakota. I was there yesterday, actually inside the facility. So that's my background. Happy to talk to anybody. And I am working with Yankton County on trying to understand what would that mean. I would also let you know that in terms of am I timeout? Okay.
Not yet.
Okay, so real quick, having built the data center here, I've proceeded to build a team that manages our software company called Sunbird. We do infrastructure management globally for customers. And I want you to know you have 4 of the leading experts worldwide that live here in Lennox, or in Yankton, that you don't know about. I also have another 40 throughout South Dakota and our whole team of 200 around the world. But there's 4 experts that I rely on, and our companies that we work with worldwide live here in this county. I bet you didn't know that.
I have one more quick.
Yes.
What's the size of the one on in terms of the wattage? What's the size of that one on West City Limits Road?
That was designed at 1 megawatt.
1 megawatt.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. 1 megawatt facility back then. I've since looked into it and I could scale that one up to about 4+ plus megawatts where it sits and resides today, looking at some of the equipment, but yeah.
Mhm.
Those is at 1 megawatt. Yeah. So,
Time.
yeah, I just wanted to let you know that that's where I come back. And in that data center, going back, somebody mentioned renewable energies. It started by the fact that I was working as done.
Okay, any more discussion from the commission on this issue?
No, it looks like some of the, concerns that I heard about is water consumption, electric rates, pollution, noise pollution, light pollution, which I think could be solved with setbacks. It doesn't sound like anybody wants TIFs, but that is always a concern for the county since we're property tax based. Power overload. And then I think another important thing would be a decommissioning plan. Is just, I think that'd be common sense. And those are the issues that I heard. I mean, does that cap most of people's concern? Water consumption, nobody wants their electrical rate to skyrocket. Noise, light pollution, blackouts, and then decommissioning plan. Does that sum it up?
I mean, I think an ordinance should cover, like, a
Yeah.
good plan should be brought to,
Yes.
a good plan should be including exactly, like,
Yeah.
how is the electrical distribution going to be happening? How is it going to be provided? We need to know what is the required uptimes of these data centers. A critical uptime data center, only allowed to be down 20 minutes out of the year. That creates another concern versus some data centers are given more time to be down. So there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of the question about where maybe we set limits in terms of overall power sizes. And maybe there's similar to other things that we've done in our zoning, certain sizes have stronger requirements. Larger sizes require stronger requirements. I think there is something to maybe the sound and making sure that we have setbacks, maybe noise barriers or something like that to prevent sound pollution. Water. My brief research on closed systems says they do use quite a bit of water still, depending on the size of the facility, and there's still some concerns there. So I think a good plan also includes a detail on their water delivery and water consumption and water and wastewater handling, especially in the county where we don't have a sewer system. So, but I think and like I said, I think we want to put a moratorium in, and maybe the only language I might change in the moratorium is that it can also expire if we get a zoning ordinance passed. If we get a zoning ordinance passed in less than 12 months, it'll expire as soon as we have a zoning ordinance in place.
He appears to be nodding.
Yeah. And so that we don't have a moratorium for longer than necessary.
I'll throw in my 2 cents worth. I'd love to leave a sheet right up here at the table and have all of you that want to come to our next budgeting meeting and see how the hell we're going to pay for our existing expenses. And if you got great ideas, we'd love to hear them. But I'd like to, if you want to come up and sign up to come, we'll get you a telephone call so that you know when the meeting is. We in this county have declined agriculture in the areas of capos. I don't want one next to my house. And I can understand why all you may not want one next to your house. But we haven't, Gary, Gary's still here?
Yep.
Yeah, I think we have not had one complaint. Gary, tell me if I'm stretching things here. One complaint about smell on any of the hog capos that are in the county. But it was such a big deal that we threw away millions of dollars of investment. We don't,
I actually got quite a few complaints last month. texted to me, so just so we're clear, so. I've got
haven't
a
got
bunch,
it,
so.
so of course they
Okay.
probably think I'm
Well,
pro ag, but
well,
in the area around here, the- obviously with the crowd that's here, we're opposing, at least initially opposing, the structure of data centers. I see the rendering plant up at Parkston finally won a case in court, but there's another place where the county was trying to develop a framework for economic development. And some of this stuff, if you have it here, you're going to get interest from major companies that will be interested in bringing in natural gas or electricity or whatever. If we keep getting smaller and using less and less of it, they won't be around. They'll go to Vermilion or someplace else that's willing to do those things. We've got budget problems. And if you want to sit down and discuss them, I'd love to have you come to the budgeting process and understand where we're at. In our preparation for the budget this year, we elected to set up 2 task force, one on economic development and growth, and one on the finances that the county faces in the budgeting process, and the latter is making good progress on getting ready to report some findings. The one on economic development, we're working on it. I attend a meeting twice a month, and we're working on it. And I think we'll have some ideas, but it won't be that soon that they'll be on the board. And if we do get them here, it's probably 3 to 5 years before we'll collect a penny of taxes on them. So we got an economic problem that we got to resolve. And I'm open for ideas. That's what the task force is for. You can see the task force list of people, and you go to them and express your opinion, because we want to go in economic development in a direction that the community supports that growth. It just doesn't work so well the other way. But as long as you want money and you don't want to pay more property taxes, we got to find income sources. So that's my 2 cents worth.
I guess I'll add just a few more comments to that. And as they explained the size, yes, I'm not in favor of a big hyperscale data center in Yankton County or even close to Yankton County. I'm not supporting a large data center close into our vicinities. And I don't have a problem with doing a moratorium. What I have a problem with is the size restriction that we're putting in. The wind tower, the wind farm, not moratorium, but the ordinance that was put in place was for wind farms or wind towers that are going to generate more than 100 kilowatts of energy, I think is the number, right? Anything over that had to be like 1.5 mile setback and all this stuff, which basically shuts down a wind farm in Yankton County. And the task force brought that to us and we passed it. I think we should do the same thing. Maybe 100 megawatts or kilowatts or whatever is not the right number. But if they're talking 10 to 15 to 20 megawatts, I don't see that as being a huge electric draw or water draw. And maybe we could do the moratorium for anything larger than 50, 50 megawatt data centers. Or 30, I don't, whatever we come up with, the magic number, but I don't think that we should do a moratorium totally. How many megawatts of electricity does the new Yaggie's plant use?
Does new what?
The new Yaggie's facility out on West Salamis Road. You got any idea on that number? I'll bet when they fire up their grinders and rollers and everything else, they're using quite a bit of electricity. I get that. I understand, but I'm just saying there's got to be a comparison for commercial businesses that we want to attract. And again, I'm saying I don't want to attract a big, huge data center that's going to burn up a bunch of electricity and water.
And again, that's exactly why I did not want to just put a whole flat moratorium, and I put that 250 kilowatt, because I did not want to have a 250 kilowatts of processing capacity in a server room. I didn't want to be killing it all entirely. So that is exactly why I put a lower limit on that resolution.
And I get that. And can we raise that limit up to 50 megawatts or something like that to
I don't think we'd do 50 megawatts.
30? I mean,
Well, 10 megawatts, it goes to the state PUC.
I think we do it at, if we have a currently existing one at 1 megawatt, I'd be fine with up to with a 1 megawatt limit. And that's similar to so that's I believe the Midco data center, that's a data center that's essential to running our fiber networks that are being put into town and throughout our county, right? If I'm correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a co-location facility that was designed to be.
Oh, okay.
For hosting, because proximity to Sioux Falls, that you have ER system here in Yankton.
Okay.
Proximity and distance there. There is fiber, of course, in there.
Yeah.
That wasn't primary.
So I think we could maybe raise it. I also do want to put it into where it expires as soon as we get an ordinance in place. I think that, as you said, I think we have sort of scales of data centers that, at a, maybe there is a limit. We're not going to have a 500 megawatt facility, but I think if we do our research and we look into it, there's probably is room for a 20 megawatt facility. Again, with the right plans and making sure that when it comes before the commission and when it comes before planning and commission, that all the plans are there, and we want to make sure that all the boxes are checked and that we're not missing something. Right now, we don't have any lists. None of us up here know what we're talking about. So we need to be able to be educated.
I'm not saying that we don't do something to specify an ordinance or put an ordinance into place, but I think article, the wind generate or the wind farm ordinance, we made adjustments in that. We didn't have a moratorium to keep them out at the time. So I just think that there's a number there that we could live with, just like what we did with the wind towers. There's wind towers in Yankton County that are generating 5 megawatts of electricity for farms or businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And if we got 100 megawatt limit on wind towers to produce an electricity, then, and I'm not saying 100 megawatts for a data center, but I think we should keep our ordinances somewhat in line with each other.
Again, this is a moratorium. This is a temporary moratorium because right now we have nothing in.
And I don't have a problem putting a moratorium on anything over 20 or 25.
And what the final law could be something like that. But what I'm talking about is the moratorium that we need to get, that we should put into place so that we can have our zoning in place.
We'll have our next hearing.
And we get this in place.
A lot of task forces to generate, forces to generate those ordinance. I feel like we've did a really good job of changing a number of things in the county, and the culture that was when I first started here was, there was a lot of people looking for different things. And I feel like we've did a really good job. I've appreciated the time here, and it's been a good challenge, and we can always do better. You can always do better. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Gary.
Gary.
Okay, moving on.
I'd move to approve the June 4, 2026 meeting minutes.
Got a motion by Wanda to approve the June 4, 2026 meeting minutes. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Don. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'd move to approve claims.
Second.
Motion by Wanda, second by Dan to approve the claims. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
I think due to time, will, anybody have any major discussions on task forces?
No, I don't.
Well, I'd say we've got on each task force, 10 to 15 different people that are pretty knowledgeable, about the areas that we're talking about. And, I think they're asking great questions and moving the thing down the road. So
Agree, I agree.
I think it's hopeful.
Okay. Now's the time for our final public comment. Anyone on the list for public comment? Nobody stuck around. Public comment is closed. We don't have any,
There might be,
oh, we got someone coming?
there might be a speaker coming.
Okay.
Is that you, Carol?
You're gonna speak for us? Oh, you're number 5.
Well, you're up here now. Why don't you speak first?
Frank, were you gonna say something in public comment or?
You need a roll call vote on that one motion where you had the one dissenting because you're bidding, and then were there bid requirements posted? Just a point of clarification. You might want to consider doing a roll call vote on that 5-1 vote.
Was that the ad for advertising, the
yeah.
planning and
Number
zoning?
12.
Yeah, I don't know if you do or you
If he-
don't. I've
number
seen it done both ways in all the counties I've been. But since there was a no vote, you might want to have a roll call so it's recorded. So good luck.
Do we need that, Rob, or not? No, okay.
He's shaking his head no.
Lynette, did you have anything else to say in public comment? Okay, Swihart? Once again?
I'll let you know, I think we're the only commission that has 2 public comment periods to be more transparent to you guys.
This is just a clarification. You were talking about the megawatts of what you would want, whether it was a 1 megawatt or 100,000 megawatt or whatever you want to do. Just to give you a idea of what 1 megawatt will do. That's enough power for anywhere from about 150, and depending on the use, the time of the year, et cetera, will go up to about 1,000 homes. So that's 1 megawatt. So if you go up to 50 megawatt, you're looking at powering 10,000 to up to 50,000 homes. There again, depending on the time of the year. So either you take the power for the data center or you take the power for the homes, because there's only an infinite amount of power that is generated. So FYI, thank you.
Thank you.
James Spear.
I live at April Lane and 11th Street, and I like what Don Kettering's saying, which is the whole point. I moved here from out of state 4 years ago. I had lived here in 1992 for 3 years and was transferred out of the area. When I came back to retire in Yankton. I love Yankton. I like the area. I like the people. I liked everything I saw back in 1992. And now I come back 35 years later, 3rd Street downtown. It's the same thing. Broadway, it's the same thing, except Jack and Jodine's gone. I can't get a steak. I can't function here like I thought I could. And now we're arguing about a cent this and a cent that. And the thing is, we got to pay for it. And when you've got city employees that make as much money as these people make, it's in the newspaper. I looked for 3.5 hours. I couldn't find it. I looked online. I couldn't find it. Well, I'll dig it out and find it. I think there's 29 people that make more than $100,000 a year working for our little city here. We've got people that work for these organizations that make more than the governor of the state of South Dakota. More than the governor. And they live in Yankton? It's not even an even responsibility. I'm just here thinking about money. I know a little bit about data centers. I knew the minute you said that water, they use a regenerative process. You're probably the smartest guy on the board, and you have to know how things work before you sit here and coach everybody to go this direction. There's a mandate, a state mandate, that the data center handle its own electricity. They handle their own. They're not going to take anything from the community. They have to handle their own, and the water is all in their own, in and of itself. So I'm into a county that isn't broke, a county that doesn't have to beg to fix a bridge or have a street light. I'll give it up. I pay about $7,000 a year in property taxes, and I don't have a street light at the end of my road.
That's not enough. I live out there.
Well, I'm just saying, can I get a street light? Well, I mean, it took a while to get a little, get the dust off the road, but come on, guys, I'm on your team. But somebody's got to look at these costs, because money isn't going to fly out of the trees. The way everybody's got to have their yearly increment and their upgrade. And you just sat here and you heard all of them say, we're out of money. We're out of money. And then people are voting themselves raises and cost of living adjustments. We're out of money. And the only place to get it is from the property taxes. You're either going to bring these companies in and grow, or you're not. And just in conclusion, I'll tell you, when I lived here in 1992 and I saw all the solace and the kindness, there were 15,000 people in the city of Yankton, South Dakota. When I drive by a population sign, there's 15,000 people right now, 35 years later. And I've owned and run several businesses in my life, and I'll tell you, a business that doesn't grow, a city that doesn't grow, dies, suffocates. And we're hearing the sucking sounds when we're sitting in this room tonight, and we're worried about a half a cent when you've got companies and you forgo opportunities that are going to bring affluence to this community. They'll cut the property taxes in half, but nobody will let anything happen. So thanks for letting me talk, and I appreciate it, and I love everybody in Yankton.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the list?
Nope, that's it.
Then I would move to adjourn.
Hold on, we do
Oh.
have items for next meeting, and I think two important things is we did talk about the road and tax levy.
Yes.
And we have a moratorium. I want to,
Publish.
Rob, can we work on getting that published with probably,
That needs to be published, just the notice of the hearing needs to
I
be
just need
published.
the.
I don't think it
hearing.
hurts to publish, right? You know what I mean, to let
Okay.
everybody know that's the intent.
Yeah,
But we don't,
then-
that's not on a time frame, just the notice of the
Okay.
hearing and have a hearing within.
then
time
the only
frame,
thing I
10,
do
12
want to do is
days.
edit that so
Yeah.
that it does expire as soon as we have a zoning law in place. Just so that we don't have it hanging out there for 12 months if we can get this done in 3, you know? Because I don't like bans, I don't like doing moratoriums long term.
Half a penny sales tax also. Put both of them back on for next meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Done
Well,
that
I
once.
agree with Ryan, but let's just put a limit on it. Let's have a task force bring their recommendations for.
Yeah,
in-
and that's
in
exactly
60
what I want.
days.
I want that, we can put the limit on the task force but the moratorium will expire with or without a zoning law in 12 months.
I guess I would prefer, if we just had our planning commission do it, because we all appointed them, because we'll have to advertise for a while to get task force members. And it'll just slow the
Just have the
process.
planning board
Yes,
be
yes.
the task force.
Yes, or just, hey, we could delegate them.
To do
And
the-
we'd
to
have to
do the
wait till
ordinance.
after the moratorium. But we
Because
could
it's
say,
open
hey,
meeting.
we would like you guys to research this. And because that would save us a whole step. Right, I get where you're coming from, but that'll take this quite a bit longer. We'd have to advertise at least for 2 weeks.
I'm
Right.
looking at what our solar
Yeah.
task force did, and that was fairly efficient.
Yeah, I get where you're
And I
coming
think we
from.
can
but
do that again,
We would have
especially
to,
if we don't have,
we wouldn't even get started until, because we'd have to put it on the agenda for next meeting. Then we'd have to advertise for 2 weeks. And then we'd have to appoint those members, right? And so it'd be a month before we'd even get started. Whereas if we pass that on, the planning commission could get started pretty much immediately. And if we want to go down the other route, that's fine, but that's delaying it.
I would prefer to do a task force.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn again.
Second. No, Don, Don.
Motion by Wanda, second by Don to adjourn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion. Thank you all for coming. Good seeing you guys at physical therapy.